Unfucking real. Let's get to it. Unfucking real. Let's get to it. Congratulations, Miami Marlins. You yet again proved to me why you are one of the most classless organizations in all of sports. I don't know if this is authentic, if this is actually real. It could be fucking photoshopped. I could be doing this entire video on something that isn't even real. But from what I looked into, from what I saw, it appears to be 100% genuine. So I'm just going to take this video with a grain of salt, and I'm going to say that this is 100% real for the time being because, like I said, I looked into it. It looks fucking real. It looks legit. If this is some sort of late April Fool's joke, I don't find it funny. Not one bit. We just can't leave this poor man alone, can we? So, for those of you who don't watch baseball, who don't know who the hell Bartman is, let me take you back in time 20 years ago. October 2003. 2003 NLCS, the 2003 National League Championship Series. It was between the Chicago Cubs and the, at that time, Florida Marlins, who later became the Miami Marlins. Game 6 was set at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Now, the Cubs had the lead going into the 8th inning of Game 6. Our manager at the time was Dusty Baker. Our pitcher at the time was Mark Prior. Mark Prior was obviously very fatigued at that point by the time the 8th inning came around. Obviously needed to be taken out of the game. Dusty Baker decided, hey, I'm going to leave him in, even though the guy clearly said, I'm out of gas. I'm out. Like, I can't throw anymore. Dusty Baker refused to take him out, left him in, and the Cubs end up giving up a shit ton of runs. I believe we gave up 8 runs in that inning. Alex Gonzalez makes one of the most boneheaded errors in Chicago Cubs franchise history. But nobody really wants to bring that up. Nobody wants to blame that guy. Nobody wants to blame Dusty Baker for leaving Mark Prior in when it was too late. And by the time he put in the bullpen, it was too little too late. The damage was already done. Yeah, I know Game 7 happened and Kerry Wood hit a home run, but that was like the only highlight of the game We ended up losing Game 7, and the Marlins ended up beating the Yankees in the World Series in 6 games in their last World Series appearance and their last World Series win. But nobody wants to talk about Dusty Baker or Mark Pryor or the bullpen or Alex Gonzalez or the fact we gave up that many runs. All everybody wanted to talk about was a man by the name of Steve Bartman. Steve Bartman was sitting on the foul line side in left field, and a fly ball was hit in his direction. Him and a whole bunch of other fans went to catch the ball, and Moises Alou, who was our left fielder at the time, went to make the catch on the ball to get an out. Steve Bartman interfered with the catch, and Moises Alou ends up throwing a fucking temper tantrum out on the field. And for the rest of the game, all everybody could talk about was this fan in the crowd who had interacted with the ball in play and caused Moises Alou to not be able to catch the ball. And the poor guy was harassed so much that they had to escort him out of the stadium. And for over 10 years, this man was harassed, doxxed, stalked, threatened, had his family members threatened, had to move out of the city of Chicago just to keep him and his family and friends safe. Never showed his face in public ever again. Never appeared in person to talk about the said events of that day. Basically just disappeared from the spotlight, never to be seen again. Even the Cubs winning a World Series in 2016 wasn't enough to make this man come out and show his face. Sure, they gave him a World Series ring, which he did thank us for, but even that wasn't enough to make him come back into the public light. Steve Bartman wants nothing to do with the Cubs organization ever again. He wants nothing to do with the fans ever again. Sure, he still loves baseball. He still coaches baseball to this very day, but he's never showed his face at Wrigley Field ever again. No matter how many times the Cubs organization has offered a chance for him to come back. They even offered him to come back opening day 2017 at Wrigley to throw out the first pitch, and he didn't do it. If he didn't do it for opening day the year after we finally won the World Series, I knew right then and there this man's probably never going to appear in the public ever again. Now, I haven't heard anything about Steve Bartman in quite some time. And as a matter of fact, I haven't really heard anything about Steve Bartman since the Catching Hell documentary came out, the ESPN 30 documentary. And that's pretty much the last I ever heard about Steve Bartman. Until now. So, the Miami Marlins are playing the Cubs in about, I believe, 2 weeks' time in Miami. And this year marks the 20th anniversary of them winning their second and last World Series. And how this organization is paying respect to that is by having a Steve Bartman Appreciation Weekend. A weekend against the Cubs where they are going to mock, ridicule, harass, and cause people to threaten a man who all he did was interfere with a foul ball, and his life was forever changed for the worse. And we're going to pay homage to that by making fun of him 20 years later. My response to this is, hasn't this guy gone through enough? Hasn't this poor, poor man gone through enough torture, enough hell in his life? It is nearly 20 years. October will be 20 years since this incident happened. And you guys are bringing it back up from the grave just to mock him all over again. I don't know who's in charge of the PR department down there in Miami. Whoever's in charge, if this is your idea of a sick, cruel joke, fuck you. I don't find this shit funny. Cub fans don't find this shit funny. Most Cub fans have moved on from Steve Bartman, and we've pretty much all forgiven Steve Bartman. Me personally, I've never hated Steve Bartman. I never blamed him for what happened in '03. Truthfully, the person that I blamed in the '03 collapse are two people. Dusty Baker for leaving Mark Pryor in when obviously Mark Pryor was drained of energy and couldn't go anymore. And Alex Gonzalez for making that boneheaded error at second. Had those two not have happened, the Cubs would have won Game 6 and went to the World Series, and who knows what would have happened. Maybe we would have won the World Series in '03, maybe we would have lost. There's no way of knowing. What I do know for the fact is that Steve Bartman is not to blame for us losing that for us losing the chance to go to the World Series, excuse me. He's not to blame for us losing the NLCS. That falls entirely on the Cubs. And for over 10 years, and even after we won the World Series, there were still Cub fans to this day that still harass and stalk this man and his family over a fucking foul ball. I don't like Moises Alou. Never have. Never will. He's never apologized for the play. If he has, I'm not aware of it. Last I looked into it, he never apologized for the way he acted. He never tried to contact Steve Bartman and apologize. He's never tried to reach out to Bartman's family. Never made a public statement as far as I'm aware. So fuck Moises Alou. This whole situation, like I'm not even mad enough to scream about it because I don't want to. Number one, I don't want to blow my vocals out screaming about something as silly, as stupid as this. Number two, I'm more disgusted than I am pissed. We just can't let this man. We just can't let this man live in peace, can we? We just gotta keep digging the fucking. We just gotta keep digging the fucking grave up and just dragging out the corpse over and over and over again. The man has clearly stated he never wants to show his face in public ever again. He doesn't want nothing to do with Major League Baseball ever again. He's never made an appearance. Ever. No matter how many times the Cubs have begged him. And I'm talking begged. They have fucking begged him. They've offered him thousands of dollars to appear. They gave him a World Series ring. They offered for him to be in the parade. And he still has never appeared in public ever since that day. He's pretty much washed his hands clean of the Cubs organization of Major League Baseball. And quite honestly, I don't blame him. Because look at what we did to that poor man. All over a foul ball. That documentary, Catching Hell, still sickens me to this day. The last time I watched it was, I think it was actually 2016. I think I ended up watching that documentary just a few days after we won the World Series. And even though we had won the World Series, it still left a bad taste in my mouth because of the way we treated that man. I'm a diehard Chicago Cubs fan. I ride and die Chicago Cubs through the good and through the bad. And trust me, we've been pretty bad as of late. I rarely talked about my Cubs here on the channel. But I'll always be a Cubs fan. Unless, of course, they do something so controversial and stupid that I just will never forgive them for. And trust me, this organization has done a lot of really stupid shit through the past few years. Moving from WGN to Marquee Network, getting rid of star players that the fans really love, just bring in fucking scrubs who obviously can't fill these guys' shoes. Oh, sure, we got Dansby Swanson, Cody Bellinger, and Marcus Stroman. That's great. That's cool. I don't have an issue with those three. But those three alone are not going to help win us another World Series. Maybe they'll get us to the playoffs, but it's not enough to win another World Series. We're not going to win another World Series for the foreseeable future. But I tell you one thing. We got a better chance at winning a World Series right now than the Miami Marlins do. And speaking of Miami, are you this fucking petty? Are you this much of a fucking man-child? Is your organization this petty? Is your organization so... Did your organization think that you're oh so funny? Oh yeah, let's just poke the well one more time and bring out the Steve Bartman jokes. Har 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 har. You think you're fucking funny. You think you're cute. Anything for fucking viewership, huh? Anything for people to talk about you. I'd rather not be talking about you right now, but the reason why I am is because what you're doing is disgusting. What you're about to do, if you actually go through with this, is disgusting. You're going to get this poor man to start getting harassed, mocked, ridiculed, and possibly stalked and threatened again. And you don't fucking care. Why? Because you want to celebrate beating the Cubs in 2003? Big fucking deal. Whoopee. You beat the Yankees in the World Series. How about if you play the Yankees this year, how about you celebrate then? Do like a 2003 Miami Marlins appreciation night or something. Bring back all the players that were on that team 20 years ago for a celebration night of when you won the World Series against the Yankees. But no, you do it against the Cubs. And of course, you have to bring Steve Bartman in the picture. Does Steve Bartman have anything to do with this? Fuck no, he has nothing to do with this. You think Steve Bartman... And speaking of that, I hope wherever Steve Bartman's at now, if you actually go through with this, if you actually publicly come out and admit that you're doing this, I hope Steve Bartman... I hate lawyers, okay? I don't like lawyers. I don't like lawsuits, except when they're done on good occasions. And there are good lawyers out here. I'll make an exception. I hope Steve Bartman gets a good-ass lawyer, and I hope he sues the fuck out of you. I hope he takes you to court, and I hope he gets every motherfucking penny that you guys are going to get from doing this appreciation weekend. I hope all the profits go toward him and his family. if you actually go through with this. I hope he I hope he bones you dry of money so fucking bad that you have to sell off the entire farm just to keep your organization alive. Personally, if it were me, if I was Steve Bartman, I would sue the fuck out of you to the point where you have to either announce Chapter 11 bankruptcy or you have to move to another city. I heard Salt Lake City's wanting a baseball team. They're wanting an expansion team. Why not move there? You might fucking have to. If it were me, I'd sue the fuck out of you to where you have to fucking move out of Miami. You won't be the Miami Marlins no more. You'll probably be the Salt Lake City, I don't know, Salt Lake City Bees or something. Something to the extent. Hell, you probably wouldn't even be a baseball organization anymore. For me, I'll put your ass out of fucking business. I don't care that your team's owned by Derek Jeter. And Jeter, if this is your call, with all due respect, fuck you. If this is on you, and this is your call and your decision to do this weekend, fuck you. I'm disgusted. That's the only thing I can think of right now is that I'm just fucking disgusted at this. It's sick, it's gross, it's disgusting. And it just makes me look at the Miami Marlins and think to myself, you know, what a classless organization. Stay classy, Miami. Stay fucking classy. Fuck the Miami Marlins, fuck the organization, and fuck that shithole state of Florida. There are good people that live in Florida, but overall, fuck that whole entire state. Fuck DeSantis, however you say his name, fuck them all. Using the image and the name of a man that just wants to be left the fuck alone. Haven't you done enough to this man? No, let's just keep poking. Let's just keep poking the fucking. Let's just keep poking the poor guy. If I was the Cubs organization, I would threaten to sue the Miami Marlins. I don't think that's possible, but I sure would love to see it if it is. I know Steve Bartman's gonna fucking sue the shit out of you. I know for a fact if you fucking do this, he's gonna sue you. I know for a fact. It's not a he's not going to do it or he might do it. No, it's going to be a he's going to do it. The man has clearly said, leave him the fuck alone. Leave his name out of this shit. And you guys just can't do that, can you? Then again, this whole video may be for naught. This picture could be fake. It could be fucking photoshopped. I don't fully know. But if it is real, then it just proves to me why I will always consider you guys to be a very classless organization. And to think, I wanted to forgive you guys after we won the World Series in 2016. I wanted to actually forgive you guys. But now, if this is real, that forgiveness is forever gone. I will never forgive you for this if this turns out to be real. I will never fucking forgive you for this, and I will never forgive you. And I hope that your organization, fucking tanks to the depths of hell, and I hope you never win another fucking World Series for the rest of your organization's existence. Fuck the Miami Marlins. Fuck anyone who supports this. Fuck anyone who likes this. Leave Steve Bartman alone. Unfucking real. Gotta bring this man's name up once again when all he wants to be is left alone.
They will find me through the flames, flames that run down through my veins. I will make the city burn. We're not planning to return. Trying so hard to be free, to make you see what I see. Hold on to your wishes if you can't hold on to me. Forgive me for letting you down. Forgive me for letting you down again. I guess I'm not strong enough right now.